We now move on to the last presentation of this session, which is Vivekanand Jawale, who I believe is a PhD student of Professor Pandit from the Haribhai Desai College in Pune, in India. Is this correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, today Vivekanand is going to give us a presentation on two-dimensional zinc oxide nanostructures for dye degradation. So please, if you can share your presentation.
So, hello everyone, good evening. Myself, Professor Vivekanand Jawale from Department of Chemistry, Ramakrishna More College, India. In today's presentation, I'll give the presentation on two-dimensional zinc oxide nanomaterials for methylene blue dye degradation. And this today's presentation, we given the content as the introduction, synthesis of nanostructures, characterization, applications of methylene blue dye degradation, and on that conclusion. In this introduction part, I'll give this idea of why we synthesize this two-dimensional zinc oxide nanomaterial is the important concept for us. In this synthetic method of this nanostructure, two-dimensional nanostructure zinc oxide, we are using the hydrothermal method at the reaction temperature at 180 degree. We are varying the reaction temperature with 2 hours, 4 hours, and 8 hours with 12 hours. With different characterization, we'll go for this UV visible, you go for the IR, TL analysis, Fpsm TM analysis. And after synthesis of this two-dimensional zinc oxide nanomaterial, we'll use for methylene blue dye degradation. With the increase in the industrialization, globalization and industrialization, n number of pollutants are evacuated as it is into the environment, and that will be adverse effect as a pollutant is a water pollution, air pollution, land pollution, noise pollution. That will be adverse effect on human health also. There's affected on aquatic life. This mostly affected on aquatic life due to the textile effluent as it is drained out into the water sources without treatment. Here we having this dye affected on environment, plant species, human being, aquatic animals. Here we are having different methods for treatment of that effluent as a chemical method, physical method, biological method. In chemical method, we are having the oxidation, ozonolysis, electrolysis. Physical method, we are having the reverse osmosis, coagulation, adsorption, filtration. In biological methods, we have microorganisms and enzymes. By using of this, we can treatment that effluents. But these methods are so much costly, so we try to go with the photocatalysis. The photocatalysis as environmental stabilize, give the environmental stabilization and energy production with the semiconducting material just like oxides and superoxides. These oxides and superoxides absorb this photon of light is given out from the sunlight. This photocatalyst absorb that light and it convert into the charge carriers as an electron and holes. That generated charge carriers are used for photo reduction and photo oxidation. Overall, that photo oxidation and reduction helps for this redox reaction. This redox reaction helps for generation of energy with the help of the solar light driven to water splitting, and that helps to degrade the pollutants. So your main aim to degrade that pollutants by using of this photocatalysis. For that purpose, I require the photocatalyst. That photocatalyst should have the optimum band gap. They should absorb the maximum sunlight. They should be stable in chemical way and biological way. So I try to synthesize such type of photocatalytical materials. That catalytical materials should have stability in environment with a chemical and biological way. That photocatalyst the band gap, they should absorb this light more than sunlight as up to this band gap or more than that band gap. That can be tuned by different methods. Either we can go with a hydrothermal, we can go for sol gel method, solvothermal, solid state, combustion. We having the microwave techniques, sputtering, sonochemical, photochemical, spray pyrolysis, PVD, biomolecules, DVD. By using of different methods, we can synthesize this photocatalyst. Here we are having different photocatalysis just like the TiO2, zinc oxide, tin oxide, iron oxide, cadmium oxide, zinc sulfide. Among these photocatalysts, zinc oxide is one of the best photocatalysts that will be give the N type of semiconductor, and that can be used for the tissue engineering, anti-cancer, genes delivery, biogenesis, antibiotic material, drug delivery in solar cell, gas sensor, photocatalyst, and water splitting, many applications of that zinc oxide. So we are trying to synthesize such type of two-dimensional zinc oxide nanomaterials. Thus, zinc oxide nanomaterials are available easily. They are low cost, chemical and biological stable. The synthesis is so simple. So we are trying to synthesize such type of zinc oxide nanomaterial with a heterogeneous photocatalyst. In present work, we synthesize two-dimensional zinc oxide nanomaterial carried out with a hydrothermal reaction method at 180 degree. With a different reaction times at 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours and 12 hours is influence the reaction on the morphology with a change with the time on the degradation of methylene blue dye. We have to investigate it, and this recent work we synthesize the zinc oxide nanomaterial. For synthesis of the zinc oxide nanomaterial, we are taking the 10 millimoles of zinc nitrate dissolved into 20 ml deionized water. We are taking 20 millimoles of NaOH, again dissolved into deionized water, and I mix that NaOH dropwise into zinc nitrate solution. With a constant stirring, afterwards I add 20 ml of EDTA solution into this above solution, stir it for 15 minutes. After this solution, I transfer into the autoclave contain Teflon container at the 100 ml and I put into the oven at a 180 degree. After 2 hours of reaction time, I collect the sample and wash and dry at 100 degree for 2 hours. That sample get investigated with UV visible, PL, XRD, Fpsm and TM. Further, that sample is used for photocatalytical methylene blue dye degradation. Here, same method we have applied for 4 hours, 8 hours and 12 hours. Characterization here we are using the X-ray diffraction analysis, UV visible absorption spectroscopy, photoelimination, Fpsm technique and TM analysis. Here XRD shows broad emission spectra at every time here 2, 4, 8 and 4 hours. This pattern is exactly matches with the JCPDS data 361451 indicate high purity crystalline nanomaterial zinc oxide get synthesized. With increasing the reaction time, there is no such change is observed into peak height, but intensity somewhere at 8 hours and 12 hours goes on changes, and this indicate the formation of different morphology at 8 hours and 12 hours. Overall XRD pattern gives idea about formation of hexagonal two-dimensional nanoparticles with the 2 hours, 4 hours, with change with your temperature time as 8 hours and 12 hours, you are getting some different morphology. That's also analyzed with the UV visible spectroscopy. That UV shows the absorption peak at 380 nanometers, indicate formation of nano size zinc oxide nanomaterial, because here I get the sharp absorption peak at the 380 nanometers is the indicate the narrow size zinc oxide nanomaterial gets synthesized. With increase in the reaction temperature, the absorption peak is gradually decreases. This indicate after change with the reaction time, I get a different morphology with this formation of zinc oxide. Here, the peak that gets slightly broaden peak I can observe with a change with the reaction time, whether 4 hour, 8 hour and 12 hour, indicate the particle size goes on increases with increasing the temperature. Here, photoelimination spectroscopy also gets studied. With this, we are getting the peak, the emission peak at 390 nanometer. With this 470, we get one more peak. This 390 indicates due to the band edge emission between of your zinc oxide nanomaterial. At 470 emission peak is indicate maybe the defect due to the zinc or the oxygen defect, and it's a clearly indicate from this here formation of zinc oxide nanomaterial with little defects are observed at 470 nanometer. That's the indication of PL spectra. Then we go for the Fpsm analysis. In the 2-hour reaction time, Fpsm, it exactly shows the two-dimensional hexagonal plates. They're having the particle size near about 50 to 100 nanometers with the thickness 10 to 15 nanometers. With a reaction time as it increases, I observe at a 4-hour reaction time slightly same nanomaterials with the hexagonal shape two-dimensional nanomaterials, but with increasing the reaction time as of 8 hour, I'll get this change in slight morphology with your hexagonal plates. Some defected hexagonal plates are observed over here. With increasing time at the 12 hour, I see some faceted growth of zinc oxide nanomaterial get observed. When I get this overall analysis of Fpsm, it will indicate this formation of hexagonal plates for 2 hours and 4 hours reaction time. With the increase in the reaction time, it will form slightly distorted hexagonal plates with a faceted growth get observed in 12-hour reaction time. With the TM analysis indicate the formation of two-dimensional zinc oxide material. Dark images are generated afterwards with the increasing reaction time is indicate the formation of three-dimensional material. With the increasing the reaction time, it's generated bigger size zinc oxide materials. SCAD shows exactly formation of highly crystalline zinc oxide nanomaterial in my synthesis. Growth mechanism of zinc oxide. Here, EDTA plays an important role over here, the formation of zinc oxide nanomaterial. Is acting as a structural reducing agent. Structure can be get analyzed with maybe due to that EDTA. Here we are using this EDTA that zinc ions get binded with the EDTA and movement of zinc ion may be restricted over here. after heating of that zinc oxide material, it converted into zinc hydroxide. Further, it get converted into the zinc oxide. With increasing the temperature, here that converted into the hexagonal plates, and afterwards with increasing the temperature, diffusion of that adjacent plates takes place. It get converted to grow the bigger size hexagonal materials, and this observe in Fpsm and TM. It gives a clear-cut indication. There's synthesized zinc oxide nanomaterial we use for degradation of methylene blue dye. At a 4-hour reaction time, material after 2 hours is indicate near about 100% degradation of methylene blue dye. You can observe over here there's yellowish color bar get decompose easily with a 2-hour reaction time. 12-hour reaction time, here we are getting slightly lesser than 2-hour reaction time. Here we are getting faceted growth, 3-dimensional material. Then also I get this reaction time, that's photocatalytical activity decreases as 8 hours, maybe due to the bigger particle size get developed over here. The trend we get, this 4-hour reaction time is lesser than all of these reaction times. For this dye degradation, we have taken 50 milligrams of zinc oxide. It's taken into 100 ml 10 ppm methylene blue dye, that methylene blue dye. We stir that solution for 15 minutes. Try to get that equilibrium, and after equilibrium we irradiate it with 400 watt mercurial vapor lamps. After 2-hour reaction time, I get observation that 2-hour reaction time material degraded that methylene blue dye near about 70%. 4-hour reaction time material degraded only 50%. And this 8-hour reaction time material degraded that material near about 99%. Here we have studied that kinetics of that 2-dimensional zinc oxide nanomaterial. I get such type of beautiful observation over here that 8-hour reaction time material having highest rate 3.73 into 10 raised to minus 2, and that is near about 5 times higher than 4-hour reaction time material. Conclusion from this presentation, I want to give the conclusion that we synthesize zinc oxide nanomaterial at 180 degree with a changing in reaction time as 248 hours is formed the hexagonal plates with using of this hydrothermal technique. XRD indicate formation of the hexagonal crystal zinc oxide nanomaterials. UV visible absorption study shows the absorption peak as 380 nanometer. PL analysis gives the emission peak at 390 nanometer and one peak at 470 nanometer. Fpsm and TM analysis gives this sharp hexagonal shaped zinc oxide nanomaterial gets synthesized near about 50 to 100 nanometers. Zinc oxide prepared at 8 hours at having this reaction rate 5 times higher than 4-hour reaction time. We use this different articles by using of that reference. We are trying to synthesize such material. Recently, we published this article into Springer Nature Journal of Material Science with having impact factor as 3. Thank you for everyone to giving this opportunity to sharing these thoughts with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Vivekanand. It was an excellent talk, very clear and confident, and it was very well done. Thank you very much. Are there any questions? If you have a question, please just speak. Anyone?
I have some.
Yes, sir. Yes.
You show X-ray diffraction pattern and some image. As I understand, you prepare oriented microstructure, yes or not? What is
Can you pardon, please? I can't hear you.
you grow process organize it like preparation text samples, yes, text or oriented or not, because you show, for example, on SEM, as I understand, this is like oriented, yes, particles, and oriented film or not. You can say any about orientation samples, or and maybe this is not important for you. This is like film orient text film, or this is for you is not so important.
I think you are asking for the orientation of
Yes.
this zinc oxide material.
Yes, yes, but as I understand, you have preferential orientation, yes or not?
Sir, actually here we are using this ADTA material for structural determination. In the previous some articles, we are getting this type of material that we can orientate it by using of EDTA. So we use a EDTA over here.
This is particle is oriented or not, or random
Yes.
distribution?
No, sir, this particle are oriented.
Oriented, yes?
Yes.
You show X-ray diffraction pattern.
Yes.
This is, but I don't see any texture. This is data from another situation, or what is, how possible? Because here, I don't know exactly, but I think it's no any texture reflect.
Sir,
This pattern is absolutely don't oriented.
Maybe the powder is spun, and for this you don't see crystallistic any sort of preferential orientation.
Because this is random, yes, this
An
is not
interesting
any
question.
texture. My question is, this is similar, or maybe you some use, yes, some technical rotation or something for obtaining perfect diffractogram, yes. If and maybe this is important. Prepare oriented sample with text. Maybe this is important for your effect. Yes, stability. You show some result with stability. Maybe this is correlated with this situation. What is your opinion?
so maybe my guide will give the answer to related to that question.
Hello, hi, Igor.
Yes.
Actually, we don't have such a facility to take images from different angles and orientation. We have very simple Fpsm microscope, so that's why we have taken those type of images only.
Okay, what is your, okay, from X-ray diffractogram, I understand this is not oriented sample, yes? And
Yes,
in
yes.
this case, your result don't correlate with orientation. This is random. Okay.
Yes, yes.
This is, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a very interesting questions, actually. And discussion very well. Are there any more questions? In that case, I will close the session. Thank you very much for everybody that presented in this session. It was very enjoyable. Now it's lunchtime. Possibly not for the people that are in other countries, but in Portugal it is. And so we'll be back at 2 o'clock, okay, this afternoon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for giving the opportunity. Thank you, Vikram, sir. Thank you.